Hey all, it's Laura back on your screens for the second review of this new horror movie trilogy, Fear Street on Netflix. It's based on the novels of R.L. Stine, and if you haven't watched the first part, which begins in 1994, go back and watch that one, and my review for that one first. For the second part, we move even more into the past, and this time 1978. So let's open up the app and take a look. Rotten Tomatoes give it 88% and this time an audience rating of 89%. It's got an overall rating of A on the Gatsby app, so already we are looking at better reviews for this prequel to 1994, which had already started out pretty strong. The summary says, in 1978, two rival groups at Camp Nightwing must band together to solve a terrifying mystery when horrors from their town's history come alive. So I did wonder how these films would link and whether we would see much crossover. And this does happen just at the start and end of this second part, as C. Bergman, played by Gillian Jacobs, who we loved in Love, reveals to our two survivors from the first film that her experience with Shadyside's evil witch goes back to the late 70s when she and her sister were at summer camp. And cue the classic rock tracks. Just like that, we transport ourselves to Camp Nightwing, think Friday the 13th, as there are definite echoes. And here we go again. I really did love the music and the nostalgia it brought in the first film, and I was pretty happy to hear some absolute bangers in this one too. As Carry On My Wayward Son blasted through my headphones, I actually had to Shazam to remember to play it again later. It would, however, never quite sound the same again, I feel, as it was infused with bloodbaths and just more shocking gore as it echoed sadistically through my head. Yes, the gore factor is still there. If you think it couldn't get more sickening than the first part, oh, it can. There are no holes barred, and even the cute little dude with the glasses can get massacred by another possessed madman at any given time. Fear Street Part 2 does not disappoint on the fear factor, just like its predecessor. We are given quite the mixed bag of trick and treats. The king of horror, Stephen King, is referenced quite heavily in this one, as we see shades of Carrie in Ziggy and her goody two-shoes sister Cindy, and that polo shirt continually shown to be pure and virginal, which is not difficult next to her drug-addled sex maniac former friend. It's these two who get lost in the dark, foreboding witch's underground maze. And just like the first part, we see the relationships of our teens form, or reform in this case, as they all begin to scramble for their lives. I think on a downside, I felt like I was a bit more invested in their friendships and their fight for survival in the first one than in this one, but it gave enough tension and shock throughout to keep me very entertained and ready for even more when it comes to the third helping. I mentioned the music, but also the sound effects were superb, with a haunting and dramatic orchestral score as well to enhance the chilling atmosphere. So a 70s summer camp slasher. It's exciting, suspenseful and shockingly gory, and a perfect prequel to our earlier part of the trilogy. We have witnessed minor glimpses of the witch, Sarah Fear, and her backstory, and I'm hoping that part 3, set in 1666, will slickly glue everything together and explain why everything in part 1 and 2 has happened. I'm predicting some more gore along the way too. So now time to recommend Fear Street Part 2 to a few of my horror-loving friends on the Gatsby app, and I can also add it into my recently watched list from my watch list. Hope you enjoyed today's slash-tastic review. Don't forget to leave your comments and questions if you have any, and join us back here very soon as we will be looking at the third and final part of this trilogy, Fear Street Part 3, 1666. See you then.